my message is always, as the parent, don't make yourself a factor. Like, do yourself a favor and don't make yourself a factor, because people talk about the parents all the time. But if we kind of take a step back from the junior situation, now put yourself in youth hockey, AAA, AA, whatever parent, where it's like, okay, now it's not junior. Now it's like you're paying your dollars to be on this team to play, and same situation, right? You don't have, maybe you're not getting the opportunity you think that the kid should get. Even if your kid's a lower end player and you know that they're a lower end player, right? It's still like, okay, like I'm still paying. And still there's certain expectations.
3 lines,
like,
man.
Yeah. So
it can't be that bad. It shouldn't be that bad.
It shouldn't be that bad. So put yourself in that, with that perspective now, on like, what is your parent, or walk through that situation as a parent, I guess, if you're in that situation where you don't really think your kid's getting the opportunity they should get, and how you manage that mindset from the parenting perspective now, watching that.
For me, it's not panic. It's like, okay, well, like, if depending on the age of my son or daughter, I'm going to have a conversation. Either he's going to have one with the coach initially, or I'm going to have one with the coach initially, or we're going to go in together and just have a conversation with the coach. Ask for that calm. It's nothing to lose your shit about. And just say, can we talk to you? And just calmly just say, like, okay, we're just as you said, I just, maybe my son's not the best player on this team, and I'll give you that. And maybe he is, whatever. I'll give you that. And but I just, is it necessary that he never gets on whatever your complaint is, and just talk about it, and then give the coach a little bit of leash and say, maybe you see things that I don't see, but in order to empower the coach a little bit and say, like, is there something that he can do better to get more? But make it known that, like, I mean, we didn't pay X amount of dollars so that we can watch someone else play all the time. But then as a dad, like, I don't think I would have put myself in that situation, because that's where you might want to look at your child and say, like, does he really belong at this level? And what good is it to be, like we talked about last week, the supporting staff for someone else? Right? Is it that important to you? Is it that important to the kid to be playing on the AAA team or whatever level it is? Who's it more important to? And is that what you want? Because there's two sides to it. If you play for a team and a coach that says it's about winning, then you have nothing to stand on. That's his choice, right? I don't think it's the right choice, but if he just wants to play to win, and your son happens to be on the third line and he doesn't get a whole lot of ice, it's like, you knew that going in. If you knew, then you're making a choice, right? And if it's about development, then that's a fair question. But it's definitely a conversation, 100%.
So we're kind of a little bit off what I want to talk about, but I still want to stick with it. Because now we're kind of talking about, like, if the reason you're going crazy as a parent is because of the coach, is kind of like where we're at right now. So on that kind of thread, one of the things that I've noticed is, and I even noticed this in conversations where, because a huge portion of my job is just solve problems. And so a lot of times it's like, I know what the options are, but my tendency is still to just complain about the situation, right? Like, I can feel internally, like, I want to just, like, bitch about this and bitch about this and bitch about this, even though in my head, if I'm trying to solve the problem, I know that it's this option or this option, and I need to pick which one, right? Eventually, I'm going to get it down to that. When I get off my bitching chair, I can see these are my options. I need to pick one of these two things. So we were just trying to solve a problem on the phone, and we're kind of talking around in circles. And finally I was like, okay, like, it's basically, these are the options. We either have to do this or we have to do this. There's no other options. There's no other way to make it work except for these two things. So relating that back to what we're just talking about, do you see as a parent a time when, let's say you've tried doing all that stuff, you've tried talking to the coach and whatever, and the reason that you're losing your shit is because you're mad at your coach? We'll get back to the other examples after. Is there a time where you think it's just, okay, like, coach is not responding, we've tried the talk, we've tried all this stuff, do I just now accept that I do not like the coach, or I don't agree with the coach, and find strategies outside of talking to the coach now? Like, is there a time to just move to that? Or do you feel like it should be, like, constantly trying to talk with the coach?
No. Okay, so that's a great question, by the way, Eric.
Thank you.
So
it's a tricky question.
No, I like that question, because, like, you're asking me a particular, event. And at first I'm sitting there going, no, we've always been like, I've never had to deal with that. But I'm like, no, a couple times, but it's not like, listen, wasn't constant. So 1 year, told you about this. They wanted my kid to play. This is in Pee Wee AAA or Bantam. Yeah, Pee Wee AAA, the like U13. Can he play forward? He grew up as a D. Can he play forward because we're really weak on forward? We have good D. I think we. I said sure. So first of all, that's the first answer was sure. So what I mean by the first answer is sure is I didn't say no, he's a D because he's 12, right? So yeah, whatever you want, like ask him. So Charlie, you want to play D or forward? And he was like, yeah, okay. So he went. Then this season started, and their D were hurting, so they asked him if he can play D now, but it's up to you. Okay. So he said, okay. And he goes, oh, it's up to me. He goes, well, I like forward. And then they kept hounding him. And then they came to me and they said, well, we would like him to play D. I said, did you ask him? They said, yeah, but we told him it's up to him. I said, well, then it's up to him. Like, don't confuse me. If like, and I told that to the coach. I said, if you want to play D, tell him to play D. If you want to play forward, tell him to play forward. If you want to play goalie, I'll say no to that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm being honest. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you tell him. Don't make him like. If you're leaving it in his hands, he's giving you what doesn't. He's not delivering what you want because you put it in his hands. They said, well, so we had a meeting. Anyways, we had a meeting. We had that meeting, and he gave them his reasons why he should be a forward. He said, I trained for it, 12, right? But he took it very seriously. Trained for it. I'm around the puck a little bit more. I like it because like you can see he's going to be able to hit. And he goes, yeah, so if I could stay here, but if you want, I'll go D, but I would like to be forward. And they said, basically they looked and they said, well, good for you. Like they were like proud of him for like, wow, you're sitting here in front of 4 big fat adults speaking and tearing up. Right. And then, so that was one. And the coaching was never any better, but it's like, okay, but so I resigned myself. Like they had an opinion of my kid at the time that he was not one of the top guys. And I can sit here now and I could sit there then and say you're wrong. But their opinion, that's what there was. Their opinion was my son was not as good as maybe 3-4 guys on that team. And maybe that's true. But I not accepted, okay, my son's no good. I accepted the fact that that's their view of it. And the only way that my son is going to get benefit from being in this situation is, again, coming back to like, it's overused, but it's not, is this is what you call adversity. This is not a shit sandwich or anything, but it's like someone doesn't think you're as good as you think you are. So you're going to have to do something better or show them that you're better than what they think you are, because it ain't going to change. Dad can call them once a week and say, but nothing changed. Nothing changed. And it's like now they hate me even more. But they probably don't like me at first anyways, because I actually know the game. And I'm a little bit of a threat to them, right? And that's just the truth. And then now if I'm calling them all the time, bullying them and pushing them and telling them what's right and what's wrong, it's like, you think what they want my son to succeed anyways? So anyways, that was one. And it was like, okay, like they think you're not a power play guy and not this. So what are you going to do? Right. So he worked through it because you know what? Here's the bottom line. Got to junior, he had to do the same thing. Got to second year of OHL, had to do the same thing. Third year even, had to continue to prove. And fourth year, still continue to prove. You're never good enough. And you're always proving that you need to be better. So I guess the question is, was it good for me to let him eat some shit and show them, or should I call them? And I think I made the right decision. There was another time where the coach was, whatever, we met with them and the guy just didn't really want my son to succeed. And I get it. Because I was told my kid, I said, your biggest hurdle most of the time is me. Because I'm on this stupid thing. I'm on a podcast and I teach hockey players and right? I got Aaron Ekblad, that is these guys are customers. Zach has they're customers of mine. So like when a coach comes around and they have a chance to stick it to my kid, especially in youth hockey, and it sounds awful, right? But I might do it too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to be your biggest hurdle some of the times. So you want me to quit as a dad, quit my job, like, go hunt instead of buy meat? Like, I don't know. Right? So these are the things. So I had to let it go.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Just kicking and screaming and looking like a little baby And that was one of the things is like, you know what? Sometimes when you take a shit sandwich, don't make like it's just a parallel to that is like when a kid on the ice gets hit a little bit hard or maybe a little unclean and they go down and they wince and they're like, oh my God, like you think they're dead. It's like, why would you show that side of you that I'm hurting right now? Right. So like if I don't get ice, I'm going to show that I'm hurting. I'm going to take my thumb, stick it in my thumb, or my thumb, stick it in my mouth, suck on it, and look at the coach and just say, like, it hurts that you don't love me the way I would like it to. That's really
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
And as a dad, say, you know what? No, I told my kid, be tough. Like, dude, we're not going to talk to this guy. We'll say what we need to say when we need to say it, but we're not going to sit here and beg him for ice. Go get it. And that's exactly what my kid has done since day one. And you know what? I love it because every level that he moves up, guess what's going to happen? The exact same.